What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at 10 amazing animations created in Blender. All links will be in the description below. And of course, make sure to take time and comment your favorite animations below. And a small disclaimer, some of these videos do contain advisory content. However, none of that will be on display in this video. So with that being said, let's dive in. This video is sponsored by Rococo. First up, let's talk about An Ode to Racing and Lamborghini. This is an incredible little short film that transitions from some amazing 2D animation into some amazing 3D animation. Everything about this piece, the dynamic photography that conveys the motion occurring, the sound, and of course, the visuals are all just very well put together. This is an excellent example of the strength of Blender, showing how you can move from 2D assets through grease pencil into 3D realism with cycles, something very unique to Blender's pipeline. Now, I had seen this short film before, but did not realize that Blender 3D was used in production until I saw a small behind-the-scenes clip with the creators stating that Blender 3D was used. I'm not sure to what extent, but I believe all of the environments and certainly the creature were created in Blender 3D. This video has 45 million views and the channel has exploded to 2 million views. And I find it very inspirational that from home, independent creators can take software that is free and easy to access, such as Blender, and you can create engaging content that can build a large audience. The piece itself is very impressive in terms of horror filmmaking. The whole thing is very spooky. It's very clever how it's just kind of endlessly going on in hallways and taking you different places, something that feels like it's only possible in a world created with 3D, kind of creating these almost illusion-like scenarios and transitions. And also just a strong example of what you can do with Blender 3D. Clocking in at 17.8 million views, The Box is an incredible little short film made in Blender. I actually found out this was made in Blender from Tom Rosenthal's Twitter, the creator of Blender, when he shared this on there, stating that. In terms of the short film itself, incredibly cool visuals, interesting color and lighting choices, very interesting animation and character designs, and overall impressive 3D fidelity. And you'll see if you watch all the way to the end through the credits that it's actually a very small team that worked on this short film, making it all the more impressive that this was all created in Blender with such a small team. Highly recommend checking it out. It's a really interesting short film. It's definitely very surreal, but I recommend checking it out. Very cool visuals, interesting animation, and kind of a plot without much spoken word. In particular, I feel this piece has incredibly strong character designs and composition throughout the whole piece. Despite being taken place in one small location, it keeps itself visually interesting the entire time. Decoded has been doing these recreations of movie scenes. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite ones, as that's just one of my favorite films, but Decoded actually takes time to walk you through how the process was created, how Blender was used to recreate these scenes. They're very interesting videos, and all of the scenes recreated are very high quality. Now, as far as I know, Decoded made these entire scenes with just one person, making it all the more impressive, and Blender was the primary tool used in the pipeline. Decoded will walk you through the entire process. Again, I recommend checking out this video and also the entire channel for more content of this quality. Now, a bit of a shorter animation here, not a full short film yet, just one incredibly impressive shot. So this is a mixture of Blender 3D animation and grease pencil from the talented animation studio Yellow Lab TV. They do a lot of incredible work. They use a variety of software, though I know that some of the artists there primarily use Blender. But what I love about this piece is it once again shows off the power of Blender. This was made with just one or two people, and it has some incredible grease pencil animation and some incredible non-photorealistic rendering, and then just some great movement and 3D camera motion. Overall, very solid piece. Like I said, I know it's short, but it just really emphasizes kind of the power of Blender in the hands of independent creators, and I really love that about this piece. So there's a good chance you've heard of Next Gen, which is a Netflix original film. It was made by Tangent Studios, which unfortunately at this time is no longer together. However, what you may have not known is that this film was made almost entirely in Blender 3D with a full production pipeline. Tangent has actually done some talks at the Blender Cons, I believe, where they share some of their process. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can definitely check that out. Now, Blender's already used in the industry in a variety of ways, but I think what's impressive about this film is that it shows that Blender can also be the main pipeline tool for full 3D animation, something that's typically been reserved for tools like Maya. Now, William's channel has a very distinct visual look and visual style. The short films are created in Blender, I believe, entirely by William, and they're always incredibly interesting in terms of their lighting choices and their composition. Story-wise, they tend to be a little bit more abstract and pretty short. However, they're always very entertaining. Now, William actually has some products and tutorials on the channel as well, so I highly recommend checking those out. There are a couple short films on the channel. I chose The Drink as I found it to be my favorite in terms of just visuals, with this robot kind of doing floaties in a pool and kind of some humanoid actions. Overall, very interesting direction and style. Recommend checking out the full channel. Dynamo Dream Episode 1 Salad Mug is an incredible example of the power of Blender 3D as a visual effects tool. Now, most of this work was created by one person, Ian Hubert, who has his famous lazy tutorials on his channel, and he released this short film, which is almost 30 minutes long, and it's an incredible visual piece. Just an interesting world, interesting effects, very beautiful art direction. Highly recommend checking out the entire piece. It's an incredible example of visual effects work, 3D work, and just composition and art direction overall. This film popped up in January, Heroes of Bronze, The Memory, and it's almost tracking towards 1 million views right now, hitting 630,000 views already this year. It's a really cool little short film with a lot of impressive large-scale visuals. Now, I assume this was made with a small team of people, but through the credits, it looks like this was all created by one person using Blender 3D. It's an incredible example of the software and the creative potential it can unlock in independent creators. Highly recommend checking this one out. Some really interesting battle sequences and just some impressive kind of simulations and large-scale scenes you don't typically see and projects created by independent creators. Definitely recommend this one. Now, if you're already familiar with Blender community, you already know about the Blender Studio films, but for those of you that clicked this video trying to get into Blender, I wanted to save this one for last so that you could see some of the incredible work from the official Blender team themselves. Blender Studio creates these films to help promote internal tools and development cycles, and also just to share with the community. Charge is one of the newest ones. This one is rendered in Blender EV, showing the power of what you can do with real-time rendering in Blender. And why that matters is that if you don't have a super powerful PC, you can still get some pretty good results with EV on lower-end machines, not requiring as expensive of gear to produce your full short film. Now, I highly recommend you to comment below in the comments. Let me know some of your favorite Blender animations. Would you like to see more videos highlighting animations? Let me know. Thank you for tuning in. Rococo provided me a full set of their suit with facial motion capture, hand capture, and body capture. Now, Rococo uses a magnetic-based system to detect its motion, and it works over Wi-Fi, which is awesome because what this means is that anywhere with a laptop, computer, or Wi-Fi connection, you can record high-quality motion capture data without the need of a multi-million-dollar studio. If you're familiar with Ian Hubert's and his Blender channel, he uses it in his videos to help motion capture and apply that data to some of his humanoid characters. I've actually been using this on some of my VR work for prototyping and recording my hands to be in the foreground. Rococo offers incredibly high quality studio level motion capture data at a much more affordable price than the competition. Now, if you're not interested in buying an entire motion capture setup, you can actually check out their library, which has affordable options to download a ton of animations that you can use in your games, animations, visual effects, and more. Of course, I'll link to everything below so you can check it out and let me know what you think in the comments below.